And so in today's discussion, it's going to be a wild ride. We're going to talk about really the intersection between quantum mechanics, neuroscience, and consciousness. So I talked a little bit about breathing and meditation. We talked a little bit about being able to get our thoughts together appropriately. And what we realize is that consciousness is not just neurons firing in our body, but these are actually real quantum processes going on in our body, in our brains. And I talked about this a little bit before with something called microtubules. If you guys remember, microtubules are really these um, structures in our body that are used to shape our skeletons of our cells, including our neurons. And microtubules are how our mitochondria move along in the cell or through the cells. But what's really interesting about it is a theory called ORC-OR. So ORC-OR, otherwise known as objective reduction, was a theory proposed by an anesthesiologist, a curious anesthesiologist who couldn't figure out why the inert gases were causing people to go unconscious. It was knocking them out. And so the question is, why? And his theory proposed that microtubules in the brain get destabilized. I think it's very interesting. Again, I'm going to repeat microtubules in the brain get destabilized, and that microtubules and their vibrational states may hold our true consciousness. Well, when that theory was proposed, Roger Penrose, who's really a world-renowned physicist, began to tease apart the ideas with the anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff. And so, in the end, they believe that these tiny scaffolding structures inside of our neurons, inside of all of our cells, they shape cell communication and they shape movement of proteins and mitochondria in the cells. And in fact, it's one of the reasons why I think hyperbaric oxygen works so well. It's because we're pressurizing our body, including our microtubules, which can lead to higher vibrational states in the microtubules. And so in the microtubules, you have to think a little bit like maybe they're like the people mover at Disney, or like the runway movers at JFK Airport, where you get on this belt and it sends you to the other part. If you can make that move faster, people move faster. So the real question is, wait a second. Quantum mechanics and the brain. With all of these crazy tech companies building quantum computers, is my brain a quantum computer? And that's what Roger Penrose sought to find out. And the theory is that microtubules can sustain quantum vibrations. That means they can hold quantum information in a way that's far more complex. So when a researcher like Michael Levin talks about the electrical communication states and how states of cells have memories, even the smallest cells, I think that's probably microtubules. So if microtubules hold memories, when our microtubules go away, will we lose our memory? And that's the real question here. Will dementia primarily be caused by loss of microtubules or disarrayed microtubules? And how do you fix it? Well, the simple way that has been proposed is something called transcranial ultrasound. And that's why I wanted to show you my ultrasound machine, right? I'll show you here. Here's a little ultrasound probe. This is a probe. And if I listen to it closely, I don't know, I'm going to unfreeze it. I'm going to see if you guys can hear it. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? I'll be real quiet, see if you can hear it. So, ultrasound produces a sound wave frequency. Those sound wave frequencies can literally be the same megahertz. This one is a 3 megahertz as, drumroll please, your microtubules. That's correct. So could me sending 3 megahertz frequencies through my temporal windows of my brain, reassemble my microtubules, and could it improve mood, depression, dementia, and can it give me a cognitive boost? And if ORC-OR is correct, transcranial ultrasound might not just be stimulating the neurons, it might actually be getting our microtubules to align in these quantum states. So, I have a couple of questions for you guys as I sit here and think about it. I'm going to get on the table because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ultrasound myself. The first question is simple. Do you think quantum physics is going to play a role in medicine? Yes or no? I do. For sure I do. Let me get some of the ultrasound gel here as I can get through it and then see where we're at, right? So another question actually a reader sent to me, and it's a good one. His name's Stuart Cooley, or Spencer Cooley, said, if transcranial ultrasound can influence microtubules, could we use it as a cognitive enhancer to boost problem solving the way quantum computing could? Maybe. We have to find it out. We have to find it out. And the last question, which is I think is a really interesting question that a reader gave me, was the following. Do you think transcranial ultrasound can be used like ayahuasca or like DMT or any of the other psychedelics to induce psychedelic states? Well, let's find out. What I'm going to do right now, come on here. I'll show you guys what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a probe down here so you can see it. So this is the ultrasound probe. I'm going to put a little bit of gel on it. Okay. See, there's a little gel on the probe. All right, you guys got that? So you can see that that's what an ultrasound reading is with just that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that probe. You ready? Wow. I think it's in bone because what I can do, I could hear that sound. So now I've found my temporal window, and let me show you right here. You ready? Here, check it out. See that white spot is bone, and next to it is a dark spot. That dark spot is my temporal window. So I'm actually delivering transcranial ultrasound to my brain. I haven't entered nirvana, and I'm not a bodhisattva, and I have not had Jesus talk to me from this. But I use transcranial ultrasound just like this. Once a week, sometimes twice a week, for 15 minutes to help with my thoughts. As you guys remember, I had a stroke in the right side of my brain in 2022, right after COVID. So I use transcranial ultrasound to help me fend off things like dementia, things like cognitive deficits, and it's been great. And I have no side effects from it, and I don't have any headache or any other issues. So if you guys want to explore transcranial ultrasound for all my biohackers that want to fend off dementia, there's scientific plausibility that it'll work. There's some evidence that it helps with mood. There's some evidence that it helps fend off dementia. So if you're super interested in this, send me a message, leave a comment. All right? This is Dr. Murphy, signing off.